All right, what's up with the It's your boy Rocknchop, and you see what it is. Back with another video, and on this one, I want to talk about something critical that I don't see a lot of people post or even mention when they talk about doing these Coyote swaps, working on these modular motors. Now, listen, I know everybody else got their methods on how they refill their antifreeze or coolant fluid. Me personally, I tried to go the shop route, try to do it as official as possible. And so, with that being said, I have this tool here. It's called the airlift. Get a good look at that. I don't know if that's a part number, but I got it off Amazon. And you see right here, this right here, see has the gauge, and basically it doesn't pressurize the system. It actually puts vacuum on your cooling system. And if it holds vacuum, then you know that your cooling system is correct. As you know, on Coyotes, um, yeah, you gotta fill it up from here. Also, let me just speak on that real quick before I get started on this. As you can see, this is the kit. It got two hoses, and I'll get into that later. But I did want to talk about something. A lot of people don't even mention this about the cooling system. If you're using, and this is just my opinion, some people may think different, but I try to make my swaps as similar to factory as possible. I figure, if Ford did it from the factory, that's how they want it. You know, I'm pretty sure other stuff works, don't get me wrong, but this is just the way I like to do it. So I actually take off the spring. So, most of the time you have the 16 pound or 16 psi spring. I actually cut that out and just make it where, because you see this line here flows all the way to the tank, the expansion tank. Make sure that look nice. And basically, hold on. There we go. Just cat back on here, nice. Nice and snug. Okay, it's on there. I put a little too much pressure. All right. So this already has a pressure relief, and it doesn't look like it, but if you come around here, it's hard to see. It's hard to get on the camera, but there's a little hole where the actual cap, it'll bleed off through the cap. It might not look like it, but it'll spill out if you got too much fluid in there. But as I was saying before, so with this, it puts vacuum on your system, and you plug it here. Get a good camera view for you guys. I'm gonna get that plugged in, and it's just adjustable like that. It moves up and down and expands, and you can lock it in. So basically, I'm gonna come back, and once I get it all set up, I'll show you. Oh, also, so it works. It works a little different too. Let me explain the way it works. So you see, you plug it in like that, and then you plug this in here like this, and it does a Venturi effect. So with this tool, you actually do need an air compressor. Sorry, you see we over here washing clothes, so I'm gonna hook up the air compressor line to it, and once I get it all hooked up, you'll see what I mean. All right, so as you can see, I got the hose hooked up. I haven't plugged it in, because once I plug it in, everything is gonna start vacuuming out the whole system. And once it does that, all of these hoses will shrink, they'll suck in. And then once it gets up to, what does it say? To about, I usually let it get to about 25, and then I cut it off. And once we do that, then I wait and see if the needle stays, which means it's holding pressure, then we're good. If it doesn't stay, that means I have a leak somewhere in one of these hoses, and usually you can hear it, which is good. It gives you an audible sound where you can go and identify the problem. All of those times it's worked for me. I know there's other methods too to, find leaks and find out where they at. Because if it's inside the motor, then I'm pretty sure that could be more of a headache. I haven't came across that. Usually Coyotes are pretty sealed up. Less people, than did something to them. But for the most part, I haven't had any issues myself. So, look, so I have the valve closed. I'm gonna open up the valve, and I'm gonna go ahead and plug in this, the air hose to it. So I'm gonna have to put the phone down for a second because it's gonna happen quick. And excuse me if my air compressor turn on. It might turn on. See? Starting to put vacuum on the system. It's actually blowing air through. See, it's a little bit of coolant coming out. If it was a car that was in normal use, it'd be a lot more coolant coming out of this. So you see what I mean about the hose? Flat. Way better. Look at that. It looks like it's holding pretty good. Let's see how long it is once it stops. Alright, now I'm going to hit the valve and see if it holds. And looks like we have a very, very nice sealed system. So, once you have that set up, you keep it like this, and I'm going to take this T off, and I'm going to put a suction tube to this bucket of coolant, and we're just going to suck the coolant right in. And the coolant's ready to go in because the needle hasn't even moved at all. 27 pounds, looking great. So give me 1 second, I'm gonna come back once it's hooked up. I'm gonna show it all getting sucked into the system. All right, so now you see I have the hose hooked up. I'm going into the bucket of coolant. And then all I gotta do is just hit this valve. And you see it's still holding. System's perfect. So we're gonna suck it in. All I'll do is turn the valve. Bam. Hopefully that's not an air leak. I hope not. I think that's just the noise from all the coolant. And as you can see, it's just gonna fill it all up. It's sucking it right in. Because the whole thing was under vacuum. And in my opinion, this is the perfect way to make sure your whole system is full of coolant. Honestly, after I do this, I don't even have to worry about it. Now, you do have to keep an eye on your bucket and make sure. Now, look, mine is getting pretty low, and we still got a lot more vacuum left. I think I'm going to add some more coolant to this bucket. Yeah, let me stop that for a second. I'm going to come back and put some more coolant inside the bucket. All right, got more coolant in the bucket, and I feel a little more comfortable. You don't want any air to get in. You want all that vacuum space to be filled up with fluid. And it's almost done, I think. I'm getting close here. Excuse the kid screaming in the background. And look like we are at 0. Bam, you see it? And that's pretty much it. So I'm gonna take all this off, and then pretty much close to starting the engine, I'm gonna put the cap and everything back on, but that's pretty much, usually that's it. That's all I have to do. I don't have to suck any extra out. It might look like it's overfilled now, but once I start the engine up, uh, we should be fine. And I think a lot of that is that I don't think the full heater hose and all of that assembly, I don't think that gets filled up like completely. So I think that's where the leveling comes out at. You know, it does have a little bit of air in the system, but as y'all can see, it was fully sealed. It looked good, no leaks anywhere. Pretty much ready to go on that end. So, got all that done. I will see y'all on the next video. Any questions, let me know down below. A lot more to come. Also, you can see I did these custom AC lines. Came out pretty good. Catch y'all on the next video.